Restoration, Module 7. Welcome back. So here we are with the Aster Module 7 Oil Painting Restoration. Okay, so we've got as far as having put in the filler. Okay, we've put all the patches on, cleaned it all, we've put the filler in. The filler is now fairly hard, not ever so hard, but fairly hard. And it's time we can soften all the edges and actually perfect that filler, ready for the next stage, okay? And what we're going to use is a cork and water for our abrasion. So I'll show you that straight away, okay? Thanks for joining us. Right, so it's a couple of hours after the filling. We've put the poly filler on in quite a lot of areas, 10 in all. We've now got to just soften all the edges so there's not a change, a burr, okay? And what we're using is very gently, we're using a little water, probably that's a little too much, a little water or moisture on a cork, and that will give enough friction just to reduce the edges, okay? Because what we don't want to do is see the shape of where we've filled after. That's the worst thing we could possibly do, okay? So I'm softening it all now. Should be smooth to the touch. If you can feel it, you're going to see it, okay? Bear that one in mind. If you can feel it, and it is a little bump there right now, I'm going to have to take that right down because I don't want to feel it at all. Oh, that's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Okay, that's absolutely super. So I can't feel any difference at all when I pass over that. No burrs, no edges, no change at all. Okay, to the surface. So I'm going to do all these little fellows as well. Don't leave it to the next, and don't leave it until the next day, when the poly filler's gone rock hard, because it gets harder and harder over a period of time. It's easier just to catch it when it's gone hard enough, okay? And again, take any surplus water off, we don't want it swimming. And be careful not to take off all the benefit you've put in, of course. So there we go, I can't feel a thing there, maybe a little tiny bump there, and I'll just go on that again. Can't feel a thing. Okay, so looking great, feeling great. Okay. Now we have to be careful here because in the foliage of the trees, the artist used a different method. I would call it stippling, but others call it pointillism or something like that, where they literally jab the brush at it and it gives a churned up type texture. So what I'm suggesting is that we don't flatten too much or we could spoil that. Okay, so I'm just going to soften the edges as best I can and leave some of that texture as I did it with the brush earlier. I've not put the wooden block under for this purpose because what I'm doing is quite gentle. Okay, so we don't really need the wooden block for this, but I'm softening all the edges so it blends in. And again, when you feel the foliage of the trees that the artist did, it wants to feel more or less, you know, with what we've got here. Some of that's gone a little flat, but we'll get over that in a few moments. I'll show you how. I don't want it too flat, that's just the point. What we don't want to see is a joint where a style somehow changes. So certainly we've got to soften all the edgings to what I'm repairing, and then take a view on how to deal with the main body of the repair. Again, we don't want to be too flat, but we can deal with that in a few moments. Some of these areas are so small. Okay, feeling is just as important as looking when you're doing this, okay? Yeah. Take a bit more off that. Okay, fantastic, there we go. So that's all 10 repairs dealt with, okay? Right, so I'm pleased with how all the filling went, and it's all dried nicely now. We've softened all the edges and we've done the best we can with the texture, okay? The next thing I'm going to put on is a little bit of liquid, which also enhances the texture, okay? And it will also help seal the white powdery filler that we've put on, because we need it to match, after all, with the rest of the oil painting. We don't want it to stand out, so we need to give it almost the exact start in life than the original oil painting had, and that's with all sorts of primers and things, okay? So we need to get some of this liquid on. You can also use Texacryl, but I've got liquid here today. I'll use a normal small brush, no, not that small, a small brush, and I will actually add some of this and cover all of the white powdery filler, okay? If I can get in. Oh, there we go. Okay, very important to feel what the neighbouring paint is doing, and that's actually doing very little. It's quite smooth, so I'm really trying to emulate that. I can go over the edges, it's not a problem, but I won't go over by very far. Okay, it'll all get over painted anyway. Okay, so it's a nice smooth paint and I'm emulating that, okay? I'm going to stipple this on because it's the foliage of the leaves again, and I believe that's how the artist did it in the first place, okay? Right, I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so it's half an hour later. Everything should have gone off beautifully now. The liquid should have hardened by now. What I'm going to do is, before I give it the first coat of varnish, is just give it a little brush down, make sure that everything is clear, okay? I don't want any bits of chalk, I don't want any bits of wax, or any filings, bits of cork. I don't want anything on here. Okay, so just a little brush off. Right, the last thing I'm doing in Module 7 is to literally mix some Winsor & Newton oil coloured artist gloss varnish, okay, you can see it right there, with about 20% white spirit. I don't want it to be too varnishy because I've got to touch this painting up with oil paint yet, and then after that I will probably put another 1 or 2 coats on, so I don't want it to be too varnishy and too shiny. Okay, so I've just thinned that out a little, and now I'll start to apply that. Okay, and the plan is to actually put it on quite quickly but thoroughly. Okay, I will check with a torch, rub it in, that's it, rub it in, check with a torch, scrub it in if necessary, to make sure that all areas have been covered, okay, before it dries. So you can scrub this in if you want, but be careful of any live paint. I mean, if there's any flaky paint whatsoever, be careful you don't agitate it in any way at all, okay? Excellent job that. Yeah, I will check with a torch to make sure every area has got its varnish before I've finished. Looking very nice, I have to say. In fact, it looks absolutely beautiful. Credit to the artist. Okay, just check it with a torch. Make sure that everywhere looks the same and has the same amount of sheen. And again, when I've done this, I can hold it up to a light where I can take advantage of the bounce of the light to make double sure that everywhere has got the sheen. And I think it has. Okay, so if I just lift that up a little against some light, it looks pretty good to me. I can just see the whole panel shining all together, and it looks absolutely wonderful. I have to say the colours that it's actually brought out are absolutely staggering. If I just show you, if I just take you in a little closer to the heart of the picture there, you can see the colours that have been enhanced, absolutely beautiful. Okay, so here we are. We've got the first coat of varnish on. It's looking absolutely beautiful. The colours are enhanced. That's the end of module 7. So thank you very much once again for joining us. And in the next module, and hopefully in the next one, we'll be doing a little bit of touching up. So again, thanks for joining us. Cheerio.